The market of shame. The twin suns were hot above the alien city of Krellin Prime. The air was thick with dust, noise, and tension. Deep in the center of the city stood a place most people tried to ignore. The market of shame. Here, alien girls were sold like things, not like people. They were scared, hungry, and treated like animals. Buyers walked through the rows, laughing, pointing, shouting prices. Most were rich aliens in fine clothes. Some were cruel slavers. Some just wanted something to show off. No one cared about the girls' cries. Then something strange happened. A human man entered the market. He was old. His back was straight, but his face showed years of pain and hard life. His name was Elias Ward, and he looked very out of place. His clothes were plain. His boots were worn. His eyes were tired but sharp. And unlike the others, he didn't smile. He looked at the cages. With deep sadness, whispers filled the air. Why is a human here? He's not even armed. Maybe he's lost. But Elias wasn't lost. He walked slowly past each cage. The girls inside looked at him with fear. Some had bruises. Some were crying. One girl, with violet skin and silver eyes, met his gaze. Her name was Lyra. She didn't look away. The auctioneer, a fat alien with 4 eyes and sharp teeth, saw Elias. He laughed loudly. You there? Human? Looking for a pet? Or something more personal? He grinned. Elias said nothing at first. He looked at Lyra again, then at the other cages. I'll take these 6, he finally said, pointing at the row where Lyra was kept. The crowd gasped. 6 girls? That was a fortune. You got the credits, old man? The auctioneer asked, still mocking. Elias took out a small device and pressed a button. A soft beep confirmed the transfer. The auctioneer's eyes widened. Confirmed payment? Well, they're yours now. The cages opened with loud clicks. The girls stepped out slowly, confused. Some backed away. Lyra stayed still, watching Elias, carefully. What do you want us to do? One girl asked in a soft voice. Elias looked at them all and simply said, Come with me. You're free now. The girls didn't believe him. Free? That word didn't make sense. No one bought slaves to free them. There was always a price to pay, always a hidden cost. Still, they followed him out of the market. The guards didn't stop them. They couldn't believe what they had seen. An old human buying alien girls and letting them walk beside him freely. As they walked through the streets, the girls stayed close together. People stared. Some laughed. Some threw insults. But Elias didn't react. He kept walking, slow and steady. They reached a small house on the edge of the city. It wasn't fancy, but it was clean. The door opened with a soft hiss, and cool air welcomed them inside. Food is in the kitchen, Elias said. There's water, clothes, showers, pick a room, rest. He didn't yell, he didn't command. He just spoke like he meant every word. The girls didn't move at first. Lyra finally stepped forward. She opened the fridge. Fresh fruit. Bread. Real food. Another girl opened a closet. Clean clothes. Not fancy, but soft and warm. Still, they were afraid. Lyra turned to Elias. What do you want from us? Elias sat in a chair near the wall. His voice was quiet. Nothing. You've had enough taken from you. The room went silent. One girl sat down. Another started to cry. Another ran to the bathroom and locked the door, still unsure if this was all some trick. Lyra didn't cry. She didn't speak. But inside her chest, something strange moved. Hope. That night, they all slept with one eye open. But the doors stayed unlocked. No one touched them. No one yelled. No one demanded anything. And for the first time in years, they dreamed of something better. The home with no locks. Lyra stepped into the hallway, walking on soft carpet. She passed the kitchen, where the smell of fresh food filled the air. On the table sat warm bread, cut fruit, and boiled tea. Like a home, not a prison. She peeked outside the front door. The gate of the house was wide open. She looked around, quickly. No guards, no shock collars, no master standing with a whip. Was this a trap? Lyra turned back inside and called for the others. One by one, the other alien girls came out of their rooms. They had all expected the same thing: surveillance, threats, or hidden cameras. But what they found instead was freedom. Elias was sitting in the back garden, planting small flowers in the dirt. His sleeves were rolled up. His hands were dirty. He didn't even look up when they gathered near the door. "You girls eat?" he asked casually. No one answered. "Why are there no guards?" asked a girl named C, her green skin pale with nervousness. Elias finally looked at them. "Because you're not prisoners." Lyra walked forward. "Then why did you buy us?" Elias stood up and dusted off his hands. "Because I was too late. To save my daughter. I couldn't save her from the people who hurt her. So when I saw all of you, I thought maybe I could make it right. Even a little." The girls stood in silence. They didn't know what to say. In their worlds, kindness was a trick. Help came with a price. No one gave anything without expecting more in return. That night, they all ate together for the first time. Elias didn't sit at the head of the table. He sat at the side like everyone else. He passed them bread. He laughed at a joke C told. When one girl spilled her drink, he handed her a towel. No shouting, no punishment. Later, as the stars filled the sky, the girls sat on the floor, talking quietly. One girl cried softly, remembering her past. Another girl talked about her brother who was sold years ago. And Elias? He listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't ask for details. He just stayed nearby, letting them talk. Days passed. There were still no locks, no schedules, no threats. But slowly something began to change. The girls started to smile more. They took showers. They cleaned their rooms. They helped cook breakfast. They watered the garden. Not because they were told to, but because they wanted to. One day Lyra noticed something strange. The front door was still wide open, yet no one tried to run. She asked C, "Why haven't you left?" C blinked. "Left to where? We have no home. But here, we're not scared anymore." Elias gave each girl a datapad with access to learning programs, languages, math, history. One girl learned to play music. Another started drawing. Lyra spent her time reading stories of ancient Earth. They had their own rooms, but at night they all sat together in the living room wrapped in blankets, talking like sisters. One evening, Lyra brought Elias a cup of tea and sat beside him. She stared at him for a moment. "You're strange, human." Elias chuckled. "I've been called worse." "I don't understand you," she said. "You don't have to," he replied. "You're free now. You can leave any time, or stay. Your choice." Lyra didn't answer right away. She just looked out at the stars. She had never known what real freedom felt like. But now, for the first time in her life, she wasn't afraid to sleep. She wasn't afraid to speak. And she wasn't afraid to hope. Maybe, just maybe, this old human wasn't strange at all. Maybe he was exactly what they had needed. The Festival of Flames, the city of Krellin Prime, celebrated the Festival of Flames every year. It was a cruel tradition where owners paraded their most obedient slaves. Crowds cheered, music blared, and fireworks exploded overhead. The slaves wore fancy clothes, but also collars, chains, and shame. Elias hated the festival. But Lyra had other thoughts. One morning she said, "Let's go." Elias raised his eyebrows. "To that mockery of freedom?" "We don't have to hide anymore," Lyra said. "Let them see what real freedom looks like." The other girls nodded. They had been training in secret, learning languages, walking with confidence, designing clothes from leftover fabrics Elias had saved. They didn't want to live in hiding, not anymore. So Elias agreed. When they arrived, at the festival, people turned to look. At first, they didn't understand. The girls weren't in chains. Their skin wasn't bruised. They wore beautiful dresses made with care. They held their heads high. They smiled. Lyra walked beside Elias, her silver eyes glowing under the light of the flames. C followed, wearing a robe with symbols from her lost tribe. One by one, they walked like queens, not slaves. The crowd went silent. Then came the whispers. Who are they? Why aren't they chained? Wait. Are those Elias Ward's girls? And then laughter. Ugly, cruel laughter. From the platform. Above, a rich alien noble named Varnick stepped forward. He wore golden armor and had 3 servants at his feet. He pointed and shouted, "Look! The old human thinks he's a savior. Are those your pets, Elias? Or have you gone soft in your old age?" The crowd laughed louder. Elias didn't respond. He stayed calm. But Lyra stepped forward and raised her voice. "We are not pets. We are not slaves, and this man, this human, saved us when your kind looked away." The crowd fell quiet again. Varnick's smile faded. "You dare speak back to me, alien girl?" "Yes," Lyra said, "because I'm free." And she turned, her back on him. That moment, just that single act, changed something in the air. A few aliens in the crowd clapped, then more, then more. It wasn't loud, but it was real. Varnick's stepped down from his platform, furious. He walked toward Elias and growled, "You're making enemies, old man." Elias didn't flinch. "I've had worse enemies than cowards in armor." Varnick's eyes narrowed. "You'll regret this." Elias stepped forward, face close. "I regret not finding them sooner." The noble backed off. That night, after the fireworks ended, the girls sat together on a rooftop, watching the stars. The city lights flickered below them, but their hearts were burning brighter. C looked at Lyra. "You spoke in front of them all. You were amazing." Lyra smiled softly. "I wasn't scared because I knew Elias was with us." Inside the house, Elias sat quietly by the window, watching them from afar. He sipped his tea, the cup shaking a little in his tired hands. He didn't need praise. He didn't need thanks. Just seeing them laugh was enough. Later that night, as the girls returned from the roof, Lyra paused by Elias's chair. "You didn't have to stand up for us," she said. "I didn't," Elias replied. "You stood up for yourselves. I just watched proudly." She placed a hand on his shoulder and whispered, "Thank you not for buying us, for believing in us." And for the first time, Elias didn't feel like an old broken man. He felt like he was part of a family, the return of the past owner. The garden was full of laughter that morning. Lyra and 2 other girls were watering the flowers. C was sketching a small bird that had landed on the fence. Elias was fixing a broken solar lamp near the back wall. For weeks, life had felt almost normal. But normal didn't last long in a galaxy that never forgot the past. The gate buzzed, loud, angry. It wasn't a friendly visitor. Elias looked up. A huge alien stood there, his arms covered in scars, his armor cracked but sharp. His face looked like a battle-hardened beast. His name was Drogar, and he was Lyra's former master. Before anyone could speak, Drogar pointed at Lyra. "That one, she's mine." Elias stood slowly. "She's not yours. She's free." Drogar laughed cruelly. "There's no freedom. For property. I bought her. I branded her." Lyra froze. The other girls pulled her back, but Lyra stepped forward, voice shaking. "I'm not afraid of you anymore." "You should be," Drogar snarled, "because I've filed a claim with the city. You stole my asset, human. I'm taking her back, with or without your permission." C shouted, "You can't do that. She's not a thing." But Drogar had already turned away. "We'll see what the law says." The house fell silent that night. Lyra sat by the window, her fingers shaking as she clutched a cup of water. The others stayed close, whispering about what might happen. Could the claim be real? Could he really take her back? Elias sat across the room, watching her. "You're safe here," he said. Softly, Lyra looked at him. "What if they believe him? Then I'll fight it." You can't fight everything. Elias's voice grew firm. I'll fight this. The next morning, they entered the city court, a tall building made of black stone and old rules. It wasn't made to protect girls like Lyra. It was built for traders, nobles, and buyers. The judge, an old alien with 6 eyes, looked bored. Drogar spoke first. He showed his purchase papers. He pointed to Lyra's old brand. Proof she was mine, he growled. Then Elias stood up. She was living in chains, starved, beaten. I paid the market's price and freed her. The judge blinked slowly. But did she agree to this freedom? Everyone turned to Lyra. Her legs shook as she stood, but her voice was strong. Yes, I agreed, I stayed, I chose. Drogar roared. She was brainwashed. No, Lyra said. I was rescued. The judge fell silent. Minutes passed. Then, the gavel hit the table. The claim is invalid, she stays with the human. Cheers broke out in the back. Drogar roared in anger and tried to attack. Before he could reach Lyra, Elias stepped in front, no fear in his old eyes. Drogar raised his arm, but one of the girls jumped between them. Her name was Tassi. Small, gentle, the quietest one in the house. She held a long kitchen knife. You will not touch him, she hissed. Guards rushed in and dragged Drogar away. Back home, the girls surrounded Elias. They had seen everything, his courage, his calm, his refusal to let the past take them again. That night, none of them slept alone. They stayed in the living room close together like a real family. Lyra placed her hand over Elias's. I was scared he'd take me again, she whispered. He never had the right to you, Elias replied. Why do you care so much? She asked. Elias paused. Because someone should have cared for my daughter. No one did. So now I care for all of you. Tears welled in Lyra's eyes. But this is more than care now, she said softly. Isn't it? Elias didn't answer, but his silence said enough. The proposal, none expected. Elias knew too much peace was dangerous. After Drogar's attack, whispers started again in the city. Some called Elias a criminal, others said he was building a slave harem. There were rumors of reclaim raids and purity laws targeting humans bonding with aliens. He couldn't take the risk anymore. So he made a choice. He found a small colony light years away. Quiet, safe, free. A place where the girls could live, study, grow, without him. He didn't tell them. He just started preparing the ship in secret, stocked it with supplies, programmed the route. Everything would be ready by morning. They'd wake up, see the note, and fly away. But Lyra had seen the signs. Elias had been distant, quiet, hiding things. So that night, while the others slept, she followed him to the old hangar behind the garden. She watched him work under the soft glow of the console screen. His shoulders were heavy. His hands shook slightly. He was saying goodbye without saying a word. She stepped into the light. Elias? He turned sharply. Lyra? She walked slowly toward him. What is this? Elias looked away. It's for your safety. The world's turning. Not in our favor. We're not leaving. You have to, he said. You're still young. You have a chance. I don't want your lives ruined because of me. But we chose to stay, she said, firmly. And now you're throwing us away? No, Elias said, voice soft. I'm letting you go free. Lyra took a deep breath. Then listen carefully, old man. This time you don't get to decide. Back at the house, she gathered the others. One by one, they stood in front of Elias. We were slaves, she said, but now we're free, because of you. You gave us more than shelter, said Tassi. You gave us a place to smile again. And love, Lyra whispered. You gave us love. Elias looked at them all, his heart pounding. You don't understand. The galaxy won't let this be easy. We know, said Lyra. But we're not afraid, not anymore. Then, to Elias's shock, they knelt, not as slaves, but in deep respect, and then Lyra said it. Elias Ward, will you marry us? Not as property, not as protection, but because we love you. The room fell still. Elias blinked, unable to speak. He had saved them, yes. But they had saved him too, from loneliness, from regret, from the ghosts of his past. And now, they were choosing him. Later that night, they sat around the fireplace. No, papers had been signed. No grand ceremony had happened, but something had changed. Lyra leaned against Elias's side. Ce was braiding Tassi's hair. Another girl was playing soft music from a datapad. Outside, stars blinked in peace. Inside, a bond had been made that no law could break. Not between master and servant, but between hearts. Wedding on the edge of the stars. The universe didn't approve of their love. Elias had seen the reports, talk shows, government panels, galactic council meetings. They debated if what he had done was moral, legal, or even real. Human marries former alien slaves. One newsfeed screamed. Corruption, or compassion? Another asked. But Elias didn't listen to them anymore. He had listened to Lyra's voice trembling with truth. He had watched Ce laugh for the first time in years. He had seen broken girls become powerful women, and so he said yes. The wedding wasn't held in any city. They chose a quiet place, a drifting colony ship long forgotten orbiting an unclaimed moon. The stars were close here, the silence deep, the peace real. Each girl wore something from her lost homeworld. Lyra's dress was made of silver threads and shimmered like the Milky Way. Ce's outfit was marked with warrior stripes, hand-painted, with care. Tassi wore a simple robe with wildflowers stitched along the edges. Flowers she grew in Elias's garden. There were no priests. No rituals, just them. And Elias in his cleanest clothes, heart pounding like a young man again. Lyra stepped forward first. She took Elias's hands. Her voice was soft but firm. You saved me from being a number, a cage, a body without a soul. Now I stand here, not because you asked me to, but because I wanted to. Then Ce, the strongest, who rarely showed feelings. I hated humans, she said. But you changed everything I believed. You earned my trust, then my heart. Tassi smiled as tears filled her eyes. You showed me that home isn't a place. It's a person. One by one they spoke, not as victims, but as women who chose. And when Elias finally spoke, he struggled to find words. I never expected this, he whispered. I thought I was just helping. But somehow, you helped me more. He looked into their eyes, each pair different in shape and color, but all filled with the same thing. Love. I lost a family once, he said. But now, I've found another. They didn't sign marriage contracts. Instead, they planted a memory crystal deep inside the ship's core. It recorded their vows, voices and promises, a living memory, forever flying through the stars. Outside, the galaxy kept turning. But, inside that old ship, a miracle had happened. Lovers from different worlds, hearts that had been broken, now beating together. As the stars drifted above, Lyra kissed Elias first, soft, gentle, real. Then the others followed, each with her own smile, each with her own story. But now all their stories were connected to one man, the one man who never wanted anything in return, but received everything in the end. Back at the garden house, after the ceremony, life returned to quiet. But it wasn't the same silence anymore. It was the peace of belonging, the peace of choice. Elias sat under the tree with his hands behind his head, watching the sky. Lyra curled beside him. We never thought we'd wear wedding dresses, she said with a grin. You made them look better than I imagined, Elias replied. She chuckled. We're going to grow old together, you know. He smiled. That was the plan. The house that became a home years past, the house Elias built with his hands and love, stood strong on a peaceful alien moon. The stars still blinked above, but no one came to take anything away anymore. No claims, no threats, just wind, trees, and laughter. The 6 alien girls he had once freed were no longer girls. They were women, leaders, wives, and now, mothers. The first baby had arrived during a soft winter. Lyra had gone into labor just as snow touched the windows. Elias had held her hand the whole time. She screamed, cried, and then, a newborn with silver skin and soft human features took its first breath. They named her Hope. Then came others. C's daughter, strong and fearless. Tassi's twin sons, always climbing and shouting. The house filled with color, with chaos, with life. Elias built extra rooms. The garden grew wider. A small schoolhouse was made beside the orchard. And every night, they sat around the fire, telling stories in 6 different languages, but always smiling in one shared joy. The galaxy outside had changed too. Stories of Elias and his family had spread across space. Some mocked, some attacked, but many were inspired. Soon others began to follow his path, not by buying slaves, but by breaking chains. Alien governments changed their rules, markets closed, children were freed, and they all whispered the same name. The human father of the forgotten. Elias hated titles, he just wanted to be Grandpa. One day Lyra sat beside him under the fruit tree. You look tired, she teased. I am tired, Elias said with a soft smile. But it's the good kind of tired. She leaned her head on his shoulder. Do you remember the first day? She asked. The market? I remember your eyes, he replied. You weren't afraid. Just waiting for someone to care. She nodded. And you did. He looked around at the children chasing each other, the breeze gently moving the flowers, the warm air filled with laughter and music. I didn't save you, Elias whispered. You saved me. That night the whole family gathered for dinner, under the stars. One long table stretched across the garden. Candles flickered, food was shared, and laughter echoed across the hills. Tassi stood up and raised her glass. To the man who gave us everything without asking for anything. The children clapped. Lyra held Elias's hand, and in that moment he knew he had made peace with his past. He had built a future, not with weapons, not with power, but with kindness, patience, and love. Later, as the house fell quiet and everyone went to sleep, Elias stayed outside. He sat in his old chair, watching the stars. His body ached, his hands were worn, but his heart, it had never been fuller. And as he closed his eyes under the night sky, he smiled one last time, because he knew he was finally home.